was running out of energy a lot quicker than she used to. She'd have to come home and take a 2-hour nap before we even ate dinner. This was not Leanna.
I did not understand why. I just thought it's my age.
Leanna struggles to get through the days as best she can. Then, one evening in September, she's suddenly grappling with an entirely new and horrifying problem.
I was in the office by myself, and my vision started getting blurry. And then all at once I could not see out of my left eye at all. My left eye just went blank and dark. It was very scary.
And I get this phone call from Leanna. Tom, I've got a problem. I've gone blind in my left eye. So I said, okay, let's call the doctor and get in there to see him as quickly as possible.
We went to the doctor's office. The ophthalmologist examined my eye. He turned to me, he goes, I can only be the bearer of bad news. It looks like the optic nerve and vessel are both dying. I'm not sure if you will ever regain your sight back. I almost felt lost because I didn't know if it was going to happen in my right eye to where I couldn't see at all. It scared me so bad.
We were very concerned. But, you know, my big thing is, why is it happening and how can we fix it? He checked her blood pressure, which was a little high.
He goes, you could have had a stroke in your eye.
When he said stroke, I said, okay. There wasn't any indication of that before. I was flabbergasted.
And I'm like, oh no. My grandmother had 2 strokes. My other grandmother, I believe, had a stroke. I mean, it runs in the family.
And he immediately said, let's get a cardiac workup.
Leanna and Tom head straight to the hospital, where she undergoes a series of tests. But there's no sign of a circulatory problem.
I hadn't had a stroke. I didn't have any blocked arteries, and my heart seemed to be working fine.
I was really shocked at that point, because what would cause somebody to lose their eyesight? You know? That doesn't make any sense.
Puzzled by Leanna's sudden blindness, the doctors order a CT scan, and the Joneses head home.
That was really stressful because we had no idea what the outcome was going to be.
When all the results came back, our general practitioner called us up and said, we need to get you to an ENT specialist right away.
Tom was a nervous wreck, but I was fine. I was just like, okay, we're going to find out what this is.
We went in to see the ENT. He said, well, listen, I've got some bad news for you.
He said, we have found gas.
Morse Mutual, how can I be of service?
He looked at me, and I was probably white as a sheep.
He described the size of the mass as bigger than a golf ball, but smaller than a tennis ball. It encompassed 95% of her sphenoid sinus. It was scary. It was really scary.
I had no idea what to think. I had never faced anything like this before.
Initially, they didn't know what it was. The ENT surgeon flat out said, look, we need to go in and do a biopsy of this and figure out what's going on.
After undergoing a round of antibiotics to ward off any possible infections, Leanna endures the biopsy. The next 3 days are almost unbearable as she and Tom wait for the findings to come in.
Our ENT doctor told us that it came back with the characteristics of a rare tumor.
He said, Leanna, you have what is termed as an olfactory neuroblastoma.
An olfactory neuroblastoma is a malignant tumor located in the sinus cavity directly under the brain.
I'm like, okay, so this means I have cancer. I just sat there and cried because my allergy problems were now diagnosed as cancer.
We went back down to see the oncologist. He said the prognosis is not very good, and we need to be very aggressive in the way we treat this.
And the doctor looked at me and said, we have to do brain surgery. I was a nervous wreck. And he slaps his hands together. He goes, if you don't do what we tell you to do, you're going to die a horrible death in 6 months. I mean, he was so mean when he said it. You know, he was like towering over me, and I was scared into submission. I didn't know what else to do.
I wasn't real tickled with the way we were being treated. And I was quite concerned because the problem with the sphenoid sinus is that it's in a very dangerous area. So a slip of the knife, a miscalculation in that area could be fatal.
The risky surgery is scheduled for later in the week, and Leanna goes home, where she tries to come to terms with what awaits her.
I thought, okay, God, you're going to have to tell me, do I need to start writing letters to my children and my grandchildren to tell them goodbye?
How are we going to tell the kids this? You know, is this it? How much time do we have? I told the family, we'll do what we have to do to beat this. Well, I wasn't going to lose her. No way.
While they're determined to bravely face the uncertain future, nothing could have prepared Leanna for the bizarre turn of events that transpires just 2 days later.
I woke up and I heard the cat meow.
And Leanna grabs me and shakes me violently. She says, Tom, I can see the cat. What do you mean you can see the cat? It's 6 o'clock in the morning. Will you go back to bed? She says, Tom, I can see the cat with my left eye. And oh.
We called the doctor's office. He goes, okay, that never happens. So he couldn't really give me an explanation. But I was happy to have my sight back. I took that as a sign from God that things were going to be all right.
As much as Leanna remains optimistic, Tom can't shrug off a nagging suspicion that something is being overlooked.
I'm a scientist. I believe that for every effect or response the human body has, there's a cause. The question is somebody going to take the time to figure out the cause?
I could see the wheels turning, and I started thinking, he knows enough to question it, but is he right?
Despite Tom's uneasiness, he and Leanna agree they have little choice but to proceed with the high-risk surgery.
It was very scary, but you know, if it's going to save my life, I have to go through it. I did not want to miss my grandchildren growing up. And the thought of me not being here for my kids and my grandkids was worse than having any horrible disease.
Welcome.
I mean, could you be any more dramatic?
I've had it. I'm taking Mucinex Sinus Max. It's got a triple action formula.
Carl? Mucinex Sinus Max. Triple action fights pain, congestion, and pressure. Let's end this.
And that's not a tissue. Protection. Lysol kills over 100 illness-causing germs and viruses, even those that may cause runny noses. Lysol, what it takes to protect.
People are good inside, and we know something about that because we help people feel good inside. Culturelle supports digestive health and overall wellness with the most proven effective probiotic. Culturelle, be good inside.
I'm Joy Bauer, and as a nutritionist, I know probiotics can often help. Try Digestive Advantage. It's tougher than your stomach's harsh environment, so it survives 100 times better than the leading probiotic. Get the Digestive Advantage.
If you're burdened by belly pain and constipation, and you've tried any number of laxatives, probiotics, and fiber, it could be wearing on you. Tell your doctor what you've tried and how long you've been at it. Linzess works differently from laxatives. Linzess treats adults with IBS with constipation or chronic constipation. It can help relieve your belly pain and lets you have more frequent and complete bowel movements that are easier to pass. Do not give Linzess to children less than 6, and it should not be given to children 6 to less than 18. It may harm them. Don't take Linzess Yes, if you have a bowel blockage, get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Ask your doctor if 90 days of Linzess may be right for you.
Ever see anything like this? With this, it hurts. Hurts quite a bit. Guys, I'm pretty sure it's going pretty much. What about this? Yeah. You've got a little spider in there.
I can feel it moving inside my ear.
You with the tumor injuries. Oh, sorry. Saturday night on Discovery Life. Stream it live and catch up on Discovery Life Go. Download the free app. Leander Jones has just received some terrifying news. A doctor has identified a malignant tumor in her sinus cavity, directly under the brain. And high-risk surgery is the only chance of survival.
At first I thought I was just going to lose it. But I just prayed and I said, God, okay, you're going to have to get me over this.
As they wheeled her out, I gave her a kiss and said, I'll be here waiting for you when you come back. Seeing the love of your life going down the hallway, they had she had a big in her head. It was pretty hair-raising. I was like a cat on a hot tin roof. I was really nervous that morning. The surgery lasted forever. My biggest fear was that I would make a mistake. After 5 grueling hours, the surgery is complete. But the operation didn't go quite like the medical team had planned.
They told me they were only able to take out 25% of the mass.
I wasn't real happy about those results. I was disappointed. I expected them to get more out than they did.
I looked at the surgeon and I'm like, why? And he explained to me that he did not want to make a cut that would probably kill me. You think about doing surgery up your nose, there's not that much space. So after I heard that, I thought, okay, I understand.
While the news is unnerving, the doctor assures Leanna there is a chance that radiation might shrink the remaining portion of the tumor.
I just could not believe I went through all this horrible stuff to try to get rid of it, and they can't guarantee it's going to help. So we left that day, and I was beside myself.
We got her home. We had the radiation scheduled for the following week.
But halfway through the intense round of radiation, a bizarre incident makes the couple question everything they've been told.
I was at home, and I felt like something was in my nose, so I pushed the side of my nose closed and blew as hard as I felt was pretty safe. And I heard this thump. I looked into the handkerchief, and there was a piece of tissue there. It was green and yellow and tan and black. I was, needless to say, terrified.
She says, Tom, look at this. I'm looking at this thing going, oh my gracious, this isn't right. We told the doctor that she was blowing it out. They didn't want to see it. They really sloughed it off. There was no conversation. So my immediate reaction is, get it to the lab.
Frustrated beyond belief, Tom takes the tissue sample straight to his own lab. And surprisingly, when he examines it under a microscope, there is evidence of a biotoxin. Chemicals from biological organisms that are toxic.
I started to freak out. I knew I needed a specialist. I heard about a doctor down on the Eastern Shore who dealt with biotoxins. And we set up an appointment with Dr. Shoemaker, and I said, Dr. Shoemaker, this is what I've got.
I was shocked. I've never had a patient do what Tom did.
Not only did I look at the slides, I also took photographs of everything that I saw to document it.
And I told Tom that we could send a sample of material coming out of Leanna's nose to specialists.
After 4 long days, the lab report comes in. The news is nothing short of shocking.
She didn't have a cancer.
When I finally had a confirmation, the this wasn't cancer, I was relieved. And I thought my husband was always right.
Based on the testing, her diagnosis was aspergillosis.
Aspergillosis is a rare disease caused by exposure to the toxic Aspergillus fungi. When a healthy individual inhales the Aspergillus fungi, the body's immune system fights off the toxins easily. But in patients like Leanna, for some unknown reason, there's no immune response to keep the fungi from multiplying out of control. Over time, they form a fungus ball.
Fungus spore is breathed in, and it was localized deep in the sinuses, in a place where it could not be eradicated, and it started to grow. And as the ball started growing bigger and bigger, it reached a maximum size in that it couldn't grow anymore without compressing the inside of her brain.
We were dumbfounded when Dr. Shoemaker gave us his report. Our immediate reaction was, thank God it's not cancer. And my wife has more than 6 months to live.
Looking back, it's now clear that what Leanna thought was sinus pressure was in fact the first sign of the first infection.
It is my opinion that the sole cause of the sinus pressure and the sinus pain was the size of the fungus ball. It was a mass effect.
As it grew larger, the fungus ball began to press on Leanna's optic nerve.
The inflammation around the developing fungus ball brushing up against the optic nerve caused the blindness.
As a result, Leanna mysteriously recovered her sight when the antibiotics she took prior to a biopsy started to destroy the massive growth.
And it turns out it was also an antifungal. It would have an effect on a growing fungus.
But the antibiotics only reduced the mass temporarily. Over time, it took on a life of its own, slowly destroying sections of Leanna's skull.
It would have continued to grow and expand over time without treatment, and aspergillosis could be bigger.
We had a lot more concern now because fungus can do some very dangerous things. This was going to be a battle.
I didn't think it was ever going to end. I didn't think it was ever going to stop. I didn't think there was anything that we could do to make it stop. And pleading with God, you know, come on, you gotta help me here. I can't take this anymore.
I'll blow it up. I'll make an end, just leave it alone. You're gonna be killed.
Oh.
Hey, look on my ego. Look on my ego.
Really? So bang. Now the rules. Keep your ego.
Leg on my ego.
This is Charlie not coughing because he took Dosum. This is Charlie not coughing while not making sense. And this is Charlie not coughing while getting really in his part. Nothing lasts longer than Dosum for powerful cough relief.
When life gets busy, choose the immune supplement with more. Airborne, with 2 times more vitamins
I'm
and
a
emergency
bag.
gummies, and specially crafted with vitamins,
I know
minerals,
her, man.
and herbs. Airborne, also with probiotics.
Discover Caress with Floral Fusion Oil.
This
For
is
caressable
very
soft
like
skin. Indulge in the rich lather and delicate
I'm the
scent.
button mugger.
Pamper yourself. Get caressibly soft skin with Caress.
I have asthma, one of the many pieces in my life. So when my asthma symptoms kept coming back on my long-term control medicine, I talked to my doctor. He found a missing piece in my asthma treatment with Brio.
Once daily Brio prevents asthma symptoms. Brio's effective with asthma not well controlled on a long-term asthma control medicine, like an inhaled corticosteroid. Brio won't replace your rescue inhalers for sudden breathing problems. Brio is specifically designed to open up airways to improve breathing for a full 24 hours. Brio contains a type of medicine that increases the risk of death from asthma problems, and may increase the risk of hospitalization in children and adolescents. Brio is not for people whose asthma is well controlled on a long-term asthma control medicine, like an inhaled corticosteroid. Once your asthma is well controlled, your doctor will decide if you can stop Brio and prescribe a different asthma control medicine, like an inhaled corticosteroid. Do not take Brio more than prescribed. See your doctor if your asthma does not improve or gets worse.
Ask your doctor if 24-hour Brio could be a missing piece for you.
See if you're eligible to pay no more than $10 a month.
Ever see anything like this?
You guys fucking get to see this on dress.
For this?
It hurts. Hurts quite a bit.
Yikes. I'm pretty sure it's called for Whoa. What about this?
Yeah, you've got a little spider in there.
I can
favorite bleeding inside my ear.
And these are just a few of the tamer injuries. Along with Bizarre ER. Saturday at 9 on Discovery Life. Stream it live and catch up on Discovery Life Go. Download the free app.
Hi, I'm Caroline. Today's senior living community has never been better. And nobody understands your options like the advisors at Place for Mom. Place for Mom is a free service to help you find a place that fits your parents' budget, needs, and personalities. Call today. A Place for Mom. You know your family. We know senior living. Together, we'll make the right choice.
Call the Place for Mom to get your free ebook on financing senior care. Call 1-800-221-8773.
Hi, I'm Peter Yolson. I'm excited because I'm going to be with you every Friday from 7 to 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time on Discovery Life. We'll be dealing with nutrition because you are what you eat. Physical activities, whether it's indoors or outdoors, as well as wonderful things you can do with your entire family. Let's get better together. Mind, body,
Tune in to Peter Nielsen's Life Coaching every Friday at 7 a.m. on Discovery Life.
And part of something much larger than back here.
There has to be a higher purpose. And for us, it is conservation of a species and all.
You could have died like this. You didn't want to win that. Right there, what you doing? Come on, the other way.
But we have 90 days to get married. Or you go back to Aruba. Nope.
What?
Aruba.
There's a better way to obsess over 90 Day Fiancé. Watch anytime on TLC Go.
Happy birthday, make a wish.
Oh, here, where's our cake?
After undergoing dangerous brain surgery to remove what doctors thought was a cancerous mass, Leanna Jones has just learned she never had a tumor, but a rare and deadly fungal infection.
Finding out that the mass was a fungal
fungal
infection after going through surgery and radiation that I did not need, I was angry, but I knew I made a decision at the time that if this was cancer, I had to do everything I could to fight it.
And now the clock is ticking. Chemical toxins from the infection are eating away at the skull. Unless doctors can find a way to treat it, Leanna will die. But first, it's imperative to identify where Leanna came into contact with the fungus to keep her from being re-exposed.
Going on 9:30.
Exposed her
Y'all supposed to be in the bed.
environment that we could think of, and the blood remained completely normal.
Then she went back to work. Immediately, within 24 hours after returning to the building, the blood tests that Dr. Shoemaker performs were abnormal.
And when her office building is tested for fungi, the aspergillus levels are off the charts.
I couldn't believe it that something like that could happen because no one else in the building was sick. I was susceptible for it and my body couldn't fight it.
Now that they have identified the root of the problem, Dr. Shoemaker is anxious to begin an aggressive treatment plan.
Leanna was treated for the fungus ball with fungus-killing pills and fungus-killing nose sprays.
And after 15 minutes of taking it the first time, I felt really good. I felt an enormous difference.
By March of the following year, there was no sign of any mass in her sinus at all.
I couldn't believe it. The nightmare was over.
You go look in there. He needs to be
The family
big.
is overjoyed by Leanna's progress, but they can't help but
Go
wonder
look.
why it
Go
took
look.
so long for her to get a solid diagnosis.
No, you don't. Yes, you can.
Aspergillosis is very, very
Okay, but you gonna watch TV or something now? So what's the difference?
I have found in my literature search
You go look.
12 cases exactly like Leanna's. Just 12. And that's throughout the world over the last 20 years.
Today, Leanna is pain-free and enjoying every minute of her life.
Now spending time with my family is extremely important to me because you're not guaranteed tomorrow.
I got my wife back. She's doing great. You know, I love her to death. She's the best thing that ever happened to me.
I thank you so much for not giving up. But I love him very, very much. He's been my life and will continue to be.